Government of Jamaica staff orders. We're looking at basis of payment of allowances. In the case of an officer who has to maintain an established home at his substantive station, the allowance may be paid for a period of 20 days at the rate prescribed from time to time. Okay, so if you're transferred somewhere and you have to maintain that home where you're transferred to, then you may be paid transfer allowance for the first 30 days or other allowances. An officer should be regarded as maintaining an established home if he or she can show that he or she must necessarily continue to meet reasonable expenses over and above rental relating to a house previously occupied by him or her at his or her substantive station, which has not been let or sublet during his or her absence. So if they are spending more money at their assigned post than they were spending before at the house they were before they were transferred, and if that house was not being rented to bring in money, then the officer may be eligible for payment of allowance. Alright, after the expiration of 20 days, the allowance should be reduced to a rate not exceeding 75% of the rates prescribed. Right. So full rate for 20 days and then 75% or less of those rates after. In the case of an officer who has no established home but lives in lodgings in his or her substantive area, subsistence allowance at the rate prescribed from time to time may be paid for the first 7 days of temporary assignment. Thereafter, only such reasonable payments should be made as may be required to reserve the officer's lodgings at his or her substantive station, and vouchers should be produced in support of any such claim. Okay, so they did not have an established home, or they don't have an established home, but they live in lodgings. Seem like lodgings provided by the government in his or her established area, but has to spend additional amount of money. They may be reimbursed for such payment for the first 7 days, and then thereafter only such reasonable payment should be made. Okay, as may be required to reserve the officer's lodgings at his or her substantive station. Alright. So full transfer allowance for the first 7 days, and then after that only reasonable payments to cover the officer's expenses. Visiting allowance for extended or permanent transfer. We'll look at that in another video.